Now, Virginia's governor has put forward low-tax pro-business policies that have dropped the state's unemployment rate to 5.7%, well below its neighbors and the national average. Proof that such policies are key to keeping America great. In fact, Virginia placed first in CNBC's Top States for Business poll. That was last year, the third time in 5 years. Joining us here in studio is Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell, chairman of the Republican Governors Association. Governor, it's a great pleasure to see you
Larry.
in person on the set. So, 5.7%, the national rate is 8.3%. It's probably higher than that if we counted for it right. How did you do this? What did you do?
You know, it's not rocket science. You know, the things that have made America great for a long time are keeping taxes and regulation, litigation to a minimum. We're a right-to-work state. We got great workforce development programs because of our great universities. And we're just positive about business. You know, we don't talk down to business. We don't say making profit and being successful and achieving the American dream. We think that's a good thing. We celebrate success, and it's created a good culture where people want to come. We've had a lot of major corporations coming from other states, particularly California, to come to Virginia because they like doing business there. So it's a celebration of free enterprise.
I noticed one of the press releases. You're going on a trade mission to Canada, and you're going to try and get good relations and export
starting tomorrow.
Jobs.
2 days in New York first.
Let me ask you, Canada. You know, I associate a lot. I think Canada. I think Keystone Pipeline. Then I think Virginia. You and I have talked about offshore drilling off the coast of Virginia. And the Obama administration has put a 5-year moratorium on offshore drilling for environmental review reasons. You were supposed to get a permit, but they took it away. Can you help us with that?
Well, to their credit, early on, before the disaster in the Gulf, they'd actually given preliminary approval for Virginia to be included in the 2012 to 2017 batch for drilling. And then after the disaster, I understood there was a need to slow down, but now they completely pulled the rug out from under us. And to me, that's capitulation. It's giving up. It's not what Americans do. We try to fix problems and move on and get things done. So we know that there's tremendous potential for oil and natural gas off the shore. We know more demand is going to be able to reduce reliance on foreign sources of oil, and I'm very disappointed that they won't move this thing forward.
All right. Yesterday, I moderated a panel at the Bush Institute here in New York of governors, and their tax-cutting, tax reform governors, Mary Fallin in particular from Oklahoma.
She's great.
But also Paul LePage from Maine. Now, I want to say, you've got competitive tax rates, 5.7% income tax. I did a little homework, 6% corporate tax. But I know we talked down through the years about getting them down further, tax reform plans. Is there any plans, any hope to cut tax rates?
We're looking at that. We've created a number of additional targeted tax cuts, from angel investor tax cuts to various small business tax cuts. They've been more targeted as opposed to across the board. That we're looking at over this next year, doing a more comprehensive tax reform and really taking a wholesale look at preferences to see if they still work. I know I've talked to Paul Ryan and others in the Congress. They're looking at a similar kind of thing to see if, 40 years of preferences, does it still make sense in the 21st century? For many of those, the answer is probably no. So if you read some of the preferences and exemptions, then you can reduce the marginal rates across the board. And so we're looking at that, particularly that corporate income tax rate, as you just pointed out, highest in the world. We've got to get rid of some of that.
All right. I don't have time to talk about Obama's millionaire's tax. I wanted to. I was just going to ask you, up or down, is Obama's millionaire's tax real tax reform?
No, Larry, it's class warfare. You and I have talked about this. You know, we're double taxing things that people have already paid taxes on and then turn around and tax them again on investments. It's anti-investment. It's the wrong policy.
Just reform the whole code. It seems to me it's real simple. Just reform the code.
But there's no average American or lawyer, for that matter, that understands the code, and it's really something that needs to be done.
Governor Bob McDonnell of Virginia,
Thanks, Larry.
A very low unemployment state.